Chair recognizes Mr. Bell for 5 minutes for question.
Mr. Chair, before my time, I have some unanimous consents.
Yes, sir.
With unanimous consent, I'd like to enter the following articles regarding Inspector General Cuffari's conduct from the Project on Government Oversight into the record. One is dated October 3rd, 2024. DHS watchdog repeatedly misled Congress. One is dated October 2nd, 2024, a watchdog's war on oversight. One is dated April 20th, 2021, pulling punches. Trump-appointed watchdog suppress White House-related probes. There's an article on July 1st, 2021, did whistleblower reprisal help set the stage for a January 6th intelligence failure? On July 21st, 2022, an article entitled DHS Watchdog Failed to Sound Alarm for Months on Secret Service's Purge January 6 text. On August 11th, 2022, DHS Watchdog nixed alert to Congress about Purge January 6 text, new doc show. On March 8th, 2023, whistleblower reprisal feared in key parts of DHS Watchdog. On January 6, 2023, DHS Watchdog regularly purges texts on government phone despite ongoing investigation. And lastly, DHS Watchdog on July 27, 2023, DHS Watchdog settles whistleblower reprisal case for $1.17 million.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to enter into unanimous consent.
For Mr. Bell, entered without objection. Ms. Simon is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I ask for unanimous consent to enter into the record the Council on the Inspector General's on the integrity and efficiency of 1,000-page report on the Inspector General's misconduct.
Without objection.
Mr. Chair, unanimous consent, please.
Mr. Garcia is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to submit for unanimous consent. I just want to introduce this document into the record, listing all the calls to release the Epstein files from members of this committee.
Would you mind repeating your request to enter, sir, the title of your entry?
The title is, this is the document into the record listing the members of this committee and their individual calls to release the Epstein files.
Shona, without objection. Who do we have? Actually, Mr. Bell. Mr. Bell is recognized for question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Ranking Member, and our witness for being here today. Just for housekeeping, this report, which I did look at, was starting from a time period in 2019, correct?
Fiscal year 2019 to 23.
And who's the president in 2019?
2019 was President Trump.
And who appointed you, Mr. Cuffari?
President Trump.
Mr. Cuffari, can you tell me which populations are at the highest risk of being victims of human trafficking or sexual exploitation?
Those who are not put, and those who the federal government does
Let
not
me
have-
chime in. The answers are youth, children. Individuals under the age of 18 are the highest risk. And of that population, the most vulnerable are unaccompanied, unmonitored children. And that invulnerability caused by instability and lack of support puts children at risk, and unaccompanied minors are often arrive alone from dangerous conditions with no protection or guidance, which makes them easy targets for trafficking and exploitation. And Mr. Cuffari, do you know the most used tactic by human traffickers and predators to lure victims in?
a promise of some better lifestyle.
Coercion, lying, usually coming from a figures of authority who exploit those young people who may not know and prey on victims' fears. I'm a former prosecutor and have extensive work in local government, and so I understand the roles that figures of power play in communities. Figures like our law enforcement, and in many communities, ICE is much more prevalent with respect to law enforcement, and this role can play it can shape an individual's actions and how they respond, particularly when they're scared or alone. And so, got a couple quick questions for you. Are you familiar with reports in Philadelphia of a man posing as an ICE agent who robbed people and actually false imprisoned them? Were you aware of that?
I'm a native of Philadelphia. I'm aware of that case.
In Houston, are you aware of a man who was arrested after he robbed somebody while also impersonating an ICE agent?
I don't know about that.
And in Florida, a 23-year-old man was arrested and charged when police said that he claimed to be an ICE officer and threatened to deport two men after he pulled their vehicle over and demanded identification. Were you familiar with that?
I am.
And so the concern, our colleague talked about things that we should be concerned about, talking about previous administrations in the past. I think these are things that we should be concerned about, like right now. Would you agree with that?
I do.
And when people are walking around with masks and they are identifying themselves as law enforcement agents, or more specifically ICE agents, that's problematic, isn't it?
For whom?
Pick the person, the person who's there, the victim, the whomever. You don't. So let me ask you this: so you don't think that it's a problem when someone who might be inclined to rob someone, kidnap them, steal someone, now they know that they can put a mask on, claim to be ICE, and people won't know?
Without proper identification?
So is it your testimony today that all ICE agents need to properly identify themselves?
That's a decision by the Department of Homeland Security.
So, but what are your thoughts on that?
It's the decision of the Department of Homeland Security how to deploy their law enforcement.
Okay, so I've dealt with law enforcement. I've worked with law enforcement, and they don't wear masks. They show themselves. They identify themselves because it's about the trust and accountability part. So here's a hypothetical. So you have a good faith belief that this person who's approached you is not a law enforcement figure or an ICE agent, and you resist, and you're wrong. Do you know what will happen to you?
That's a hypothetical. I don't know what would happen.
You would be prosecuted. So I don't know if you're an attorney. I'm an attorney. When we're talking about the law, we start with hypotheticals because when we're discussing policy, we have to think about every situation that could potentially happen. And so you have mass people walking around, and everyone knows that ICE agents that people can portray themselves as ICE agents, and if you're wrong, you get prosecuted, and that is a problem. And we've seen articles of it in Los Angeles and other places that we mentioned all over the country. I yield back.
Ms. Presley is recognized.